Hello, you beautiful people, and welcome to Blunt Force Healing Podcast and Journal, episode 266. So, we are 266 days since this podcast started and the blog started, or journal if you wish. I'm journaling every day, and today is another update of what happened and what I'm up to in the near future. So, I already wrote the blog post quite contrary to what I was doing usually. So I used to record the podcast for a couple of days and then wrote a blog post or journal entry. But today I kind of decided to start writing and even thought about publishing it, but I knew that I won't be able to embed anything immediately, like the video podcast. So I saved it as a draft, and here I am recording the episode first. So yesterday hike was quite exhausting for the whole family. I myself wanted to go for another one today, but I saw that there's no point in pushing Ella and Julian to go for another walk or another hike, and instead we decided to go and spend a little bit time cooling down or kind of settling down and relaxing at the beach. Especially that the weather changed slightly. There's a huge cloud cover. Of course, the sun is popping here and there, but in general, the humidity went up. There was even a couple of spells of drizzle, and it's very tropical, I would say. It's still very warm, but also humidity went up, so it's barely any fresh air to breathe because there's no wind at all, as far as I can see. It's still quiet outside. Sorry about the graininess of that video, but the light is not the best, and Mac camera is not taking it well if there's slightly less light than usual. And the day started with Julian's match, and it was probably a little bit disappointing for him because they lost against Duncanelli, which is which was the first match of the season. They have still probably about 5 or 6 games in front of them, but they won versus Duncanelli away in a pre-season, matches. But so it was a little bit disappointing for the guys. But in fairness, Duncanelli came here much better prepared than they were the last time, and to be honest, there was a warning sign in the last match where Drumbar won when they were winning 3-0, and Duncanelli almost equalized because they got to 3-2 and almost equalized in the last minutes of the match or last seconds of the match. So I would say I think Drumbar boys took it too lightly and got a little bit punished. So this is a lesson learned, tough lesson, but they need to regroup and prep for the next match with St. Catherine's on next Sunday. Of course, we went to the beach. We were expecting to go to Rosnala, and we even drove there to the bakery shack, got some supplies. But while we were driving down to Rosnala, we saw that it was a high tide, the peak of the high tide. So there was very little space on the beach, and I mentioned a couple of days ago, I think, a couple of posts ago at least, about how Rosnola is one of those beaches where you can drive into, and it's usually packed because it's a very popular beach across Ireland, not only in Donegal. So there was a lot of cars there already and very little space because of the high tide. So Julian suggested to go keep driving and go to Bundoran and see maybe waves will be bigger there because the ocean was extremely calm today, and there was pretty much zero waves at Rosnola. And Bundaran is a little bit further out of the bay, so it's closer to the open ocean, so the waves are usually a little bit stronger there. So we drove to Bundaran and parked near Tulan Strand and went there. The waves were slightly bigger because Tulan is known for as a surfing spot, and there was a couple of surfers there trying to get some light waves, and mostly beginner surfers that try to get the grasp of the actual surfing. So Julian and Elizabeth, they went and played a little bit in the water with the bodyboard. Then they dried up and we went for a walk alongside the Tulan Strand. And yeah, we went as far as the mouth of the River Erne. So it's a nice stretch of about, I would say, 2.5 kilometers. So we went all the way up and back. In total, I think we did about 6.5 kilometers. So very nice walk, even though we didn't have any hike. And closer to the end of the Tulan Strand, closer to the River Erne, we spotted a quite unusual jellyfish awash from on the shore, and it was quite huge. I would say it was the biggest one I saw in Donegal, and in general, I would say that was the biggest jellyfish that I saw live, and it was unusual species because we usually kind of see the compass jellyfish, sometimes a lot of moon jellyfish, but this one was way different, way bigger, and we actually saw another specimen that was slightly smaller, but again bigger than anything we've seen before. So I still try to identify it. I'm not sure if I'll be able to, based on the photos that I have and the fact that it was on the beach, so I couldn't see it in water, how it behaves, how it looks. So we'll see. Maybe I'll be able to do that, but Ireland, and especially the West Coast, is known for hosting from time to time a very unusual and exotic species that come as far as to Ireland. Even the lion's mane fish, jellyfish, and the Portuguese sailor, or there's another name for that, which is not technically jellyfish, but it looks like one, and most of the people kind of just use the common name of a jellyfish for this one. They are very potent and dangerous for the swimmers, but we might see them on the coast from time to time in as a single specimens. But we'll see. I'll try to identify this one if I can. And other than that, we just went back home, and Ella was nice enough to pick the dinner today instead of me. So kind of we swapped the days. I will do dinner tomorrow instead. But it was an attempt for me to try and maybe plan for the last 4 or 5 hours to get on some extra smaller hike. But eventually I stayed, I ate the dinner, and decided that if I will go for a hike, it will be very tight in terms of coming back and recording and writing, and then I still need to kind of wash myself and do a couple of other things. So I decided to skip it, and here I am. You have that episode at the moment that I am recording. So it was a fairly dull Sunday, I would say, a bit maybe less exciting that I would be expecting it to be, but hey, as I said, not every day is exciting. Actually, most of the days are not. So we are just relaxing now. Elizabeth is trying to finish her things. I think Julian just finished playing and watched a little bit of cartoons on YouTube. So each to their own. We spend some time to manage our own tasks. I expect this week to be very very busy at work. We're closing on the end of June, and I have not only a pile of tasks in my kind of regular job, but also a separate task that is maybe not as heavy, but I'm on my own with this task, so it's like a separate pursuit for in terms of the other business, and that has potential of developing a proper service and consultancy branch of my own activity, which I'm really hoping to get. And I have a nice client that we can mutually help each other by working together. Of course, I'm not doing it for free, but I'm not, you know, charging them any standard fees. It's more like a cooperation that I will earn enough money to not be, I would say, dissatisfied or not do it as a charity, but also they will get the proper service from my side because I want them to be security and compliance ready. They are a startup company, so obviously at the beginning it's the budget is very tight, everything is bootstrapped. So but this is how it works, you know. If startups help startups, then you know usually both of them work much better than if they went on their own. Other than that, it's 11th of June. So on Thursday, Julian is going. He's hyped really about the school trip. So that's definitely a highlight of the week for him. They will spend the whole day in the water park. So a nice day out. I don't have any plans to do anything special this week, mainly because of the work. But on the 19th of June, my mother and my brother arrive to spend a week with us, so it will be probably packed with activities and a bit more writing and recording for you guys to maybe enjoy it. And if you ever visit Ireland, maybe there will be some value, so you can visit certain places that are not usually on touristic radar. And I think most of the worthy points of interest are not in any guide. So whatever I mention here and whatever I explore and record in this journal and on this podcast, that's for you. If you ever come to visit Ireland, you will have a fair amount of points to visit and relax and enjoy, while the other herd of tourists will be crowding elsewhere. All right, I think it's enough for today. We're already approaching 15 minutes, so it will be a short and sweet episode on that Sunday evening for me. I hope you have a great rest of the day, afternoon or evening as well, wherever you are. Stay tuned and see you tomorrow.